All right, guys, it is day 2 pumping concrete with Muddy Feet and the crew. I think they're gonna let me run the hose a little bit again today, and we're gonna go over the pump truck with Jeff, how it works and what it's all about. All right, guys, before we tie into this video, I'm laughing pretty hard. Let's just take a quick second to point out a few flaws with this opening scene, including the part where in the background you can see the concrete is already poured right here. And then I have no idea why my sunglasses are on the outside of my head, but they are. So anyways, I kind of filmed this later in the day because it was dark when we got there earlier in the day, and I just got a pretty good laugh out of that, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. All right, guys, Jeff and the crew just got the pad pumped out, and if you stay tuned towards the end of this video, you can see some of my awesome operating skills.
It was very good. Great technique. It really was. Bill and Chris did a good job.
You know where you go for lying, right, Jeff? All right, so this is this thing I wanted to cover. I think we got the perfect opportunity to do it, is everybody thinks these are some crazy spaceship complicated machines, and they're actually pretty darn simple for what they do.
Yeah.
So we're just going to start from the beginning and go with the basis. So I guess the first thing is, whenever you roll into a job site, if I was driving the truck, first thing I'm going to do is analyze it. Where are we pouring? How far do we got to reach? What's our overhead obstacles? So just what's your mindset as you roll up?
It's the same as exactly what you're saying. You're looking at overhead obstacles, and just as important, there are underground obstacles.
Yeah, good point.
Obviously, this outrigger's settled a little, but there's some fresh dirt that's not, that's been disturbed and brought in, so that's not a real big concern. It's good sandy soil.
Well, to your point, I wouldn't say you had an issue, but you ended up pulling the boom back in because they were trying to reach an additional pad over here, and you weren't comfortable.
I just didn't like how that thing was settling on.
Gotcha.
Me. So stop. Just stop. Just don't take a chance.
So we got in there on the job. So I guess at that point, you set the truck up.
We determined everything's good. So yeah, we set the truck up, pull the outriggers out, set the pads down, and get the boom up, get it spread out.
Now before, I guess I should back up, because one thing that's pretty unique about these trucks is, I got a dump truck, so I just kick in my air PTO on the bottom of my transmission and take off. These trucks aren't like that.
It is actuated by air.
But it's not off the bottom of the transmission.
Well, no, the transmission goes to, the drive shaft goes to what they call a stable box.
Right.
So the stable box is where all the pumps are sitting. All the the main pumps for the pump, so be it. Pump for the boom, and of course you got little water pumps, you got agitators, and you got your shifting cylinders for the actual valve itself. So
what, I know a lot of fire trucks are this way also.
Right.
I've set a few of the fire trucks up, so they actually use the drive shaft that drives the rear tires. It basically goes into a gearbox or stagger box. They disengage the drive shaft, they leave the transmission in gear, and the drive shaft's what actually turns the pump and the mechanism.
Right, and if you don't, of course, if you got an automatic transmission, it does it for you.
Right.
This particular truck here is a 10-speed, but you put it in 7 and in high range.
Gotcha. So you know which gear to select, let out on the clutch, drive shaft sitting there spinning, truck's going nowhere, pump's working.
Exactly. Of course, all the bells and whistles tell you you're engaged.
Right.
So,
right.
And you watch your RPMs go up, and your matter of fact, the mile per hour go up too. So,
gotcha. So we got the pump set up. Now, one question I've always had, and I think you got a bubble over here. We'll go maybe hit on this. So this is your range of operation, correct?
It is. We try to stay in the white. The yellow is okay, just but once you start getting past the yellow, then you need to make some adjustments on the truck.
Now, I guess the question I have is, can you be in the red and just pump over the front and not go over the side?
It depends on where you are in the red. If we're pumping straight off the front of the truck, and this truck is sitting at a bad angle, we're gonna pump off the front, but if this one's sitting bad like this, but the front right to left is level,
right,
I'm okay with that.
Now, will the truck automatically stop you as you start going either way? It's up to you as the operator to make that call.
Yep. But I won't stay in between these outriggers, but that's where my level is.
Gotcha.
Now, what happens is this gear motor up here that turns the boom, if you're out of level and you start moving stuff, you take a chance of snapping that gear motor.
Yeah, and then you're just free spinning and
free wheeling.
So you can work out of the comfort zone, but at some point you, the operator, have to make that decision.
Yes. So like I said, whatever side we're operating on, we want to be level.
Gotcha. All right, so we got our transmission in 7th gear high range. We got our outriggers down. Yep. We're within the happy operating range. So we're gonna get the boom up in the air. So this is a good point. The pumping mechanism on these things is very simple, actually.
Yes.
And I don't know, this truck here, we can actually see them, I believe, can't we, Jeff? We got the two, what do you call them, cylinders there?
Material cylinders.
Material cylinders.
That's what they are.
And how long are they?
They're long.
You guys can see them, they're all the way. We're going topside. Stick with me.
Honestly, I forgot how long they are. 84 inches. If that comes to mind, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure somebody will blister me.
So the best way I know to describe them is they're like a big squirt gun. You just pull the lever back, it fills up with concrete, done hydraulically with a cylinder up here on the front.
What'll happen is when this cylinder clears one of these valve ports, then it tells the pump it's ready to shift the S tube over, and then the next pump
goes on back.
Yeah, the next cylinder will start pushing.
So you got two cylinders.
You got two rams.
One of them is filling, the other one is unloading.
That's right.
So that's why you hear the big ka-chunk.
The ka-chunk is that valve shifting over.
Right. So it's not continuous flow, but it's pretty darn close.
You get a little delay, but if everything's rocking and rolling and going good, you really don't know the difference at the tippos.
Gotcha. So
and while we got one here on the end of these rams, you know, these rams are pulling in material in a 9-inch chrome plated cylinder. So, you know, they have a lot of wear life in them. So I don't even know if I'll ever change one in this truck. Hopefully I won't, before I trade it in.
Right.
But on the end of these rams is that dude right there.
This guy right here?
And I don't know how they're made, but obviously this is cast here. And this is just a big rubber plunger, basically. And what that's in there tight, it's forming a suction. That's what's sucking that material into the cylinder.
So that's the business end. It's got the suction on one end, it's got the push on the other end.
Yep. That the ram connects right there. There's 4 bolts.
So if this thing has any bypass, is there like a weep hole or anything that lets it come out, or is it?
No. How I know these things need to be looked at, start changing, is look in the water box. That's what lubricates the backside.
Okay.
Of this. The front side is being lubricated by the concrete.
Concrete, right.
The backside is being lubricated by water, and there's actually some teeny tiny little lines that squirt just a little bit of hydraulic oil in there every day. Just enough to keep some lubrication in there. We change the water out every day. But when that water starts getting a little dirtier than normal,
you know something's bypassed.
We're starting to get a little bit of bypass, and it's time to change them out.
So approximately how many hours will you get out of that? Or how many yards?
That's a hard question, because a lot of
it depends on the material.
It depends on the material. And I just watch my water box. So when I know my water box is getting really, really cloudy, and maybe even just seems like a little bit of cream in the bottom of it when we start changing the water, it's time to start getting some material cylinder, or getting these things, mud cups.
Now, is that the water box? Do you check that like you check oil in the truck? I mean, every time you...
Well, you just open the hatch up and you can see your water. But the best way to do that, just look at it. And then when you drain the water box and you look in the bottom of it, you might see a little bit of sediment.
Gotcha. So it's time for some maintenance. So
time for maintenance. And this one's time. That's why I've got a brand new mud cup here.
All right, sir, we're at the business end this time.
We're in the goodie end.
So this thing right here would technically be called the hopper, right?
This is the hopper.
All right, and the thing we got spinning is the agitator?
That's an agitator.
I'm passing great so far, aren't I?
I'll tell you, I'm impressed.
All right, so this big, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. You call that the S?
That is an S tube.
An S tube.
That is an S tube.
Well, it kind of looks like an S, is that why?
Well, I don't know why they call it. It's got a funny shape to it. You know, some point. It's like they're calling it Z, but it should be an M for muddy feet. But you know, but no, this thing here, it actually swings back and forth.
Yeah, you can kind of see, if you look real close, you can see the one hole, which is the one tube, and then the S tube is covering up the other tube right now. Correct?
Yep. That's the material cylinders. That's where the concrete goes in and comes out, essentially.
So basically, one is sucking the material in out of the hopper, while the other one is pushing it back up the S tube, and then it switches.
It switches.
So that one will be sucking it in, this one will be pushing it out.
Yep, that's correct.
Is it too much trouble to actuate it so we can see it?
Oh, absolutely not. Here we go. I'll let you, it's got a vibrator and it helps get the mud worked down.
Gotcha.
to get anything that you really care about down with that.
I'm pretty sure you won't be coming back with it.
I think it'll take more than a big tow.
So simple. So simple. So whatever that S tube is connected to the hose here, which goes up and then eventually goes up the boom and comes out the end. So Jeff, this is obviously pump truck 101, just the basic operation.
Right.
So first off, if somebody was interested in a lot more advanced stuff, they just need to go to Muddy Feet Concrete Pumping and they can check all that out.
They can watch a lot of videos and get an idea. But I'll tell you this, for now, you have the experience. It's nothing like actually getting your hands on it.
Oh, yeah.
Running a remote.
Yeah. And you know, you guys will see here in a little bit, I was able to do a little bit of it, but if this was like real life, I'd be practicing in a parking lot and have probably a couple hours running the boom before you ever had concrete coming out, because there's a lot going on. So what would your advice be to, if somebody's watching this and they're thinking about getting into concrete pumping or buying a boom, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to them?
If you could possibly go to work for somebody first and get some experience.
Get a good mentor.
Get some good experience. I started off cold turkey with a trailer pump. It would have been beneficial if I would have got with somebody and worked for them for a little bit, but that's not my routine.
You're kind of like me, you learn the hard way.
Learn the hard way. Yeah, trial by fire is what we call it. and fortunately, nobody got hurt. We didn't lose anything, but we worked it.
Gotcha.
So,
well, Jeff, appreciate you having us down.
It's been a pleasure.
We're gonna actually wrap this video up with what I did this morning. You guys get to see my attempt at pumping some concrete. It's probably gonna be some good entertainment. So let me set the scene for you guys here just a little bit. As we showed up earlier that morning, it was cold, but it was also dark, which also kind of made it hard to film. But what I did whenever I got on scene there, on site, I guess I should say, I made pretty good friends with the contractor, kind of talked to him a little bit, and the guy leading the concrete crew, and kind of let him know what our intentions were of letting me possibly run the pump. And I'll have to say, Joey, the GC, and the concrete crew, I can't remember their guys' name, but they were just absolutely awesome. They welcomed me with open arms, and we kind of got a game plan, and you guys will see here in a little bit. Jeff actually got to let me run the pump truck a little bit, which was the whole purpose of going to Texas. So just want to say a huge thanks to the concrete crew, a huge thanks to Jeff, and huge thanks to Joey, the GC, the contractor on this job, for letting me be involved and let me doing that, and it all come together. So with all that being said, well, here we go. It's ugly, but I did it. You going back that way?
We're going to fill this in right here.
Then we'll work that way, and then we'll...
Yeah, he'll finish this screed out right here, this firebox, and then we'll move over and bring this down.
I'll kind of guide you with my hand.
I'll do my best, buddy, I promise. Are we ready? Concrete.
All right. Go ahead and we'll give him push down, give him a honk like we're fixing pump, and push it forward.
Careful.
Got one, found the ditch over there. All right, we got Mike. We got him a fresh truck. I told y'all, or I told my bunch, we can make a pump operator out of him. I'm gonna tell y'all, that remote is not, it's in rabbit. He's pumping at about a volume of 6 or 7, and we got the RPMs wide open. So he's at full blast. It's not, we don't have him on rookie mode. We've got him at our mode. So, which if I'd have thought about it, I'd probably put it in rookie mode. But you know what? He's done a pretty good job for his first try at it. Hope the camera's correcting my shaking. It's cold this morning, folks. We're sitting here about 22 degrees, and we're not prepared for that kind of temperature.
Now, I use the report to go back out.
He's in the footing.
Kill it.
Well, I don't know if that was totally my fault, but I know one thing's for sure. I sure didn't help the situation, but big kudos to the Concrete team. These guys are awesome. They were great sports. I felt horrible about this, but these guys didn't care one bit. They were having as much fun as I was. So no harm, no foul, and we moved on. We turned it back over to the professionals and let them finish the job, but that was awesome. That was awesome. I'm a true rookie, but
No. Well, and I was telling your people that we haven't doctored anything. Matter of fact, I wish I'd thought about it. We would have kind of put it in rookie mode, but we didn't. We got it in our
you just
mode.
threw me to the wall.
We gave you a hot coal on that one. I didn't even think about it. We ought to put this in rookie mode, you know, to slow things down a little bit, and we didn't. And you did great. I mean, obviously, for your first time for that right there, you did good.
About an hour.
Yeah. It takes and for in your defense, and most times, you know, you can ask Chris. We set you in the parking lot, and you can spend all the time you want just maneuvering the booms. Well, a fun thing to do is take a soccer ball, put it in the parking lot, and move that soccer ball around with the hose, and you get all the.
Back to what I say on a lot of my videos, just experience. You just got to get that muscle memory experience. People ask me what a function does on a track code. I actually got to sit there and think about it, just because you're so used to doing it.
You don't think about it now. You just run it. When Bill and I, when that first truck arrived, Bill and I would go out there and set that truck up every day, and just do all the functions and everything. And it was, and because of weather mainly, it was almost 6 weeks before we put mud. I made the payment. I almost made the second payment on that truck before I put mud in it.
What's that next step?
The other thing I want to say too is like after running that for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it was, I know what to watch for as far as what he's doing. Some of the things he was telling me now make sense. You know what I mean?
Yes. You know, and that was the thing too. I'd always been on that end of the hose.
Right.
And you know, it never clicked to me to go to the pump already. Go, hey, what movements are easier for you?
Right.
You know, like stretching out and then bringing that street all the way across, because all you're doing is this with the same, and then bring it this way and then go back across. Some guys will go right there, they want to come all the way back. Well, you're doing twice the movements of those joysticks to bring that boom back this way and catch all this stuff.
Yeah, looking at it from a whole new perspective.
Yeah.
Shit, I can't thank you guys enough for having me down here and letting me have this opportunity.
It's been enjoyable. It really has been.
On this job site here, guys, this is a little different foundation again. This is what I call a beam and slab foundation. I'm not sure what the technical term is, but a couple things. They actually come in and piered this one. I'm trying to see if I can see one, but they come in and drill holes down in the bottom of these beams down to something solid. They've all been covered up with concrete, but basically they auger down and pour what they call a pier, and then that beam of concrete will sit over top of it. So basically, in theory, the subgrade could kind of settle out underneath this house and it'd still be sitting here fine, nice and pretty. But this is not rebar. If you guys notice, these are pre-tension cables. So after this concrete's poured, they are anchored on one side. They'll come over on this side. You can see it kind of sticking out right there, and they'll pull tension on that, and that's what'll kind of hold that slab together. Kind of the way bridge beams are made. So it's just really neat being down here and seeing the different methods and the different ways things are, different methods and the different way things are built. They're still using the same stakes as what we used on, they used on the other job as far as their grade right there. Another thing that's really interesting is the soil. It's on this particular job here, this is what they excavated out. It's like all sand. Don't see a whole lot of that back home, so really cool being down here and just seeing the different dirt, the different way they do things. But that was absolutely awesome. Running the pump there for a little bit. Obviously, I got a lot to learn, but you give me a few hours, I'll get her figured out. But they're making progress. They're coming on across there. There's a little better look at that post-tension cable. After they're poured, they'll put a little jack on that and pull pressure on it. And then you can also see down here, these are some of those piers I was talking about. See that concrete pier right there? And there's one right there as well. There's all over down. Jeff said they go from 6 to 20 feet, I guess, until they hit something solid down there they're comfortable with. So definitely a different concept on a foundation versus what we do back home. Also, we would pour all of our porches separate to make a thermal break between the porch and the inside. But even though it's cold this morning, they don't have the cold window like we have up home. So I don't think that's quite as big a deal in this particular thermal climate. So another good crew here this morning. They're doing a good job. Has Officer Hoover turned into home inspector?
Well,
how they do, sir?
To some of your stories, it'd be pretty easy to go work for a county and be a building inspector.
Yeah. Well, that's in Indiana. I don't know how they would do it down here in Texas.
Well,
the they say
down here,
they say everything's bigger in Texas. Does that go for the violations too?
Well, yeah, coming down here.
Give you guys a little bit of
a trip go.
What's that?
How'd the walk around free trip go?
Oh, we're still working on it here. I'm still trying to. We got to stay at this place tonight, so I'll still try to stay on this good side.
Yeah, exactly.
Give you guys a little update here. They got this all pumped out and kind of waiting for it to set up when they get finishing tools on it. And couldn't quite reach the pad with the pump. They decided not to reset the pump, so they're actually pouring this pad over here and just running it out of the tailgate. I guess this is an office slash shop over here. It does not have the post tension in it. It also does not have plastic down, but it still does have an ample amount of rebar, and you can see the footings and everything there. So they got her going on. I'll tell you what, for jobs like these, I'm very thankful back home. We have our front load mixers. But on jobs down here, they haul to a pump so often they can actually get more yardage on these trucks, so it makes more sense to have this style truck. And they can still do it. They still get her done. But yeah, like I said, it's just interesting to see how things are done in different places. All right, guys, we're getting ready to wrap up our time here in Texas. The finishing crew's going around. They're doing an excellent job. You can see the offset right there in the concrete. That is from the porch to the house. The way they do that is completely different here versus what we do. We have to worry about, us guys in the northern climate have to worry about thermal bridges, thermal breaks and stuff. Down here, that's just not really a big concern of them. They don't have the cold weather we do, even though it's pretty cold here this morning. This over here is the garage walls. You can see it kind of taking shape the way they've got it formed up. Got a little stem wall out there around the edge. They got 2x6s embedded in there for their garage doors. You see those guys working that concrete in there for those walls, and then the offset there as well. So I'd say they're about an hour or two away from throwing a trowel machine on this, but they're pulling their forms and getting everything worked in. Looking easy. They're actually waiting on their last truck to show up to finish off this pad over here, about 9.5, 10 yards short. So while they're waiting on that truck, they're doing their tidying up over there on the other pad. So huge thanks to Jeff and the whole Muddy Feet crew, Bill and Jeff. It's been an absolute awesome experience being down here. Very thankful, very gracious to those guys. I will link Jeff's channel in the description, Muddy Feet Concrete Pumping. Awesome channel. He also has a second channel, an outdoors channel called Muddy Feet TV. It's not too shabby as well. That's it for our time in Texas, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. We shall catch you on the next one. All right, guys, we're at the Muddy Feet Lake House, and the guys next door were drilling a well. We've been intrigued by it all day, watching them. Pretty cool process, but the the best part of the day, well, good for us, bad for them. They got their poor truck stuck. There's nothing worse than getting your truck stuck at the end of the day on a Friday. But they managed to bury her. They managed to bury her pretty good there, bud. Poor thing. I'm only laughing because it's them and not me, and this is usually me and not them, so she's not stuck bad. They got outriggers on. You'd think they just run them out and put them up there, but
Let me find when you get her. All right, let me do it. Well, they obviously knew who was next door. They locked the damn doors. So
little do they know, Jeff, we could have helped them.
Honestly, I really think we could have had it at the road for them if they just left the keys and then left.
I'm thinking the issue started at that tire, and then it grew around the truck.
Right. When you
Oh yeah, Officer Hoover. Hey, Hoover, I got him held captive. Get him.
Look, see this dry powdery rust?
Oh yeah, we got a loose lug nut.
Those are loose.
Is that a crack coming off that one?
No.
No, it's a scratch.
But
oh, he has got some loose wheels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, now my teeth.
Oh, that's a guaranteed ticket. He's got dirty pants.
Like the ticket has been written already. Got dirt on it.
All right, Junior, you used to be a drill man. How's this thing work?
Well, you stand back here on this platform.
I got that part.
Damn levers. You stand back there and pull levers. That's all you got to do. I mean, pipe runs down the hole, no big deal.
We could probably get about
All your drill pipe running.
50 or 60 bucks from old Black Tool Company. Blacksmith Tool Company.
This should not be on there. We don't operate with that kind of stuff. I mean, everything, you can see this drill pipe, it's all slotted.
Hey, Hoover, they did chain down their pipes, but they don't have 2 straps in the first 10.
They got an 80-year-old fuel tank on this side. It's got a dribble. Yeah.
As I told Mike earlier, when it comes to being colder than the well, I know how that is because it's cold standing back there. It's
I'm guessing there was probably a shroud on this at one point.
So they got the turntable on this one, and they can run 120 feet of pipe without having to pull from the side. A lot of guys.
Oh, I see. They got them stored up here in the top. I got you. I see what you're saying. So they one that it rotates.
It'll rotate
right here,
around, and they can drive another one right down on top of it. I mean, in this area, you know, in Kentucky, I mean, you may drill 500-600 feet wells. I mean, but around here, it may be 200, 250 feet. I'm
Right.
not sure what the water table is around here, but
200, 225 will get you.
200, 225.
Yeah.
I figured pretty close to that. And you would think with water right there,
Yeah. Well, it's
It
the
would
same.
be
It's the
all like
same
that.
thing with us in the river back home.
but you got to get under that water table.
Yep. Yep. Well, you know, I've thanks to Jeff, I got to run a concrete pump. Now I just got to find something on YouTube to let me run a drilling well.
Hey, I bet
That's
if you guys
next.
come back after a while, we'll
Eventually, we can find the key. We maybe get that done today.
I got her done up pretty good. These old trucks will go in places you wouldn't normally think of.
That's some. I don't know if I've seen that interesting suspension before. You seen that on the road, Hoover?
No, I'm not. But
I spot a violation.
But they really need to put
Fuel
the
leak.
outrigger
Yeah.
down so they're quit leaking diesel fuel. I mean, that's
That's going to contaminate the new well.
The saddle tank is probably coming back into this one.
yeah. That one they even got that valve. So they'd run that outrigger if they could have got out. So when this used to happen to us back in the day, we'd block up and run these outriggers down as far as we could. We'd take all our cribbing, block up underneath here,
Yep.
and we'd take the winch truck and pull it out. These guys may be going back to get their winch truck. We don't know yet, but
I pulled a few of them out with Dozer. I got a few phone calls. But
Do you know where they're out of?
all right, it's enough snooping on the neighbors' bad luck. We better go back to eating.
Dirt Perfect's trying to find a way to get this out. That's
We're
what
only about 175, 200 feet from a major incident.
A major incident.
Major incident.
Is this where the Titanic sunk?
Not quite that big.
Oh,
It's a deal start of an investigation though. It's a long item.
I'm all up for a field trip.
And I want to be upfront and clear. These are great people. I hate that this even happened to them. You know, you got to think it was a traumatic event for them.
right.
You don't realize that when you're a kid, but when you become a parent, you go to thinking back, going, "My God, what did I cause them?"
Oh, I think I know what happened. I think we may be getting ready to solve a mystery.
Where's the mystery wagon?
Somewhere in the vicinity of this area right here,
Oh,
we had a major incident.
And I-
And I'll tell you what,
What incident was that?
well, and since y'all are willing to come see me in Texas and hang out, go pump a little concrete and do all the good things,
we should
I will-
emphasize a little concrete.
we're going to have a rebuild.
We are.
This is where we lost that guy.
He's gone.
do you get to phantomake when you're in this area?
Right?
If you'll go to Muddy Feet TV, you can already preview this. But
Yeah, I do fish barefoot a lot.
So learning time here. So what's the incident? What happened?
Well, my neighbor was on a riding lawnmower, and he was mowing. And of course, we all knew each other. I was very young,
Right.
and it's one of them deals. My cousin tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, let's go chase so-and-so. You bet. So we take off around here through the trees, you know, when we're little, and he's back in here doing his thing. He probably, you know, and at some point he backed up,
Right.
and when he backed up, he just did not know I was there.
So you were pretty lucky to only lose a toe out of it.
Right, and I've got more scars too, but that's the main thing.
Right.
But
so I don't know if I should ask this question. Is the toe still in this area?
no, they found it.
Really?
And you know, kind of an interesting thing. You know, it was back in '78. You know, you
How-
didn't have chair flights in there.
How old were you at
I
the
was
time?
3. You know.
Oh, you was that young?
Yeah. You know, we did have a county hospital here. It's about 15, 20 minutes away. My dad was right over here, and other people. You know, they thought we were just going right over here and say hi or whatever. So it was no big deal to see us running over here.
Right.
But you know. They you know, once you get so far, a kid can be a kid, you know. So and honestly, it was nobody's fault. I mean, they're not going to keep us on a leash here.
Right.
People who's got kids understand they could disappear like that.
Yes. Thank God it wasn't a pool incident. You know,
Yeah.
those are tragic.
Yeah.
You got water here.
Yeah.
But the neat thing of it is you know, we go to the county hospital. The doctors there go to work on me, obviously, and there's no care flights, air medevac, all that kind of stuff, you know,
Sure.
that are public offerings.
Right.
They call Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Really?
And they get a Huey. that Army medevac.
So
helicopter.
all those medics come down here and
An Army medevac come got me
Really?
and flew me down to Parkland Hospital down in Dallas, Texas. The main reason was the infection, the dirt, the grasses, all that stuff in my wounds. You know, they knew the toe wasn't going back on,
Right.
but it was just to keep all the infection stuff. So I spent 7 days down at Parkland with that. But
and most of that was, you know, they probably squirted everything away, but just to make sure infection and
yes,
all that stuff didn't
they
set
had
in.
some kind of whirlpool, you know, for the wounds that they set you in. And
Do you remember any of it?
I remember a little bit about the trip going in. Just, you know, just the turning and stuff. Dad was sitting in the back. We were in a Pinto station wagon. That's what it was.
The good old days,
Yeah.
the good old Pinto.
And I remember, you know, back up there, the blinking lights. They weren't blinking lights at the time, but I remember right in that area. My dad's best friend's one that was hauling us, Toby. He had some fishing rods back there, and I remember thinking, I'm laying on these fishing rods, and there's a damn hook somewhere in here.
The hell with my toe, I don't get
I don't want to get a hook in the shoulder.
Heck with my toe, get me out of the trap.
Get the rooster tails away from me. But no, you know, but I remember parts of that. I kind of remember a little bit of seeing a pilot with a orange helmet with a white cross, maybe something like that. And then after that, I mean, no, not really. You know, it's the hospital stay stuff. But you know, you got to make lemonade out of lemons.
Did you get ice cream while you was in the hospital?
You know, I'm sure I did. I got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that's the same kind of philosophy Andy Harmless Farming has. Can't change it. It is what it is. Let's make the best out of it and go on with life.
Yeah,
so.
let's just put it on $500,000 trucks and run that shit up down the highway.
That foot still pushes that skinny pedal.
Yeah.
Just as good as
Yeah, you know, when you swim though, you got to paddle just a little harder to compensate.
Well, Jeff, thanks for
circles.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to get that front arm going.
sharing the story there, buddy.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's, you know, we're all here, so why not? Let's throw it on there.